process, it was able to reinforce its foundation. Through literature, centers of learning, and preaching, the movement not only alleviated problems afflicting an adulterated society, it also ensured that the future generations would be able to learn and improve based on ideals and practices set forth in this era. Foreign influence in other religions were debilitating to the success of the movement. The British actively opened an increasing number of churches. Hindus and Muslims created their own institutions with the purpose of cultivating one mindset among a group of people. Missionaries and Arya Samajis became blatant enemies to the cause. Even more important were the internal issues that had to be surmounted. There are three components to a community. The first is an organization, such as a government. Second is communication, or language and literature. And the third is ideology, or religion. All three had to be improved. After Maharaja Ranjit Singh, different reform movements emerged, such as the Nidankari and Namkari, but the most successful was the Singh Sabha. However, all three were plagued by dissent and factions. For example, Singh Sabha Lahore was progressive, while Singh Sabha Amritsar was equally regressive. Amritsar had much less patriotic fervor than Lahore. The three founders of the movement, Thakur Singh, Vikram Singh, and Khem Singh, did not hold the same ideologies and views on many matters, causing inefficiency in the execution of much needed reforms. Communication was hindered because of widespread illiteracy. As Sir Richard Temple commented, Sikhism is on the decline, a spent force. The Sikhs are the most uneducated people in Punjab. This made the Sikhs vulnerable to the influences of Christians and Hindus, and it inhibited the unity and single-minded approach that was necessary to maintain Sikhism as a force to be reckoned with. Many people were the facade of Sikhism, when in reality they held Hindu beliefs and practiced Hindu rituals. Gurdwaras were no longer beneficial for their use against Sikhism through incorrect worshipping practices such as smoking, idol worship, and even prohibiting members of the lower class from entering. Einstein said, "In the middle of every difficulty lies an opportunity," a concept that is embodied by Singh Sabha movement. To solve more than one of the aforementioned problems, the movement created the Khalsa College and other centers of higher education, which increased literacy, taught Sikh values, established and reinforced correct practices. The Khalsa Akhbar and other newspapers that were also circulated helped knowledge reach the masses and fostered a sense of unity long lost in the Sikh population. Gyani Dip Singh, editor of Khalsa Akhbar, commented on the future of the Sikhs at that time. Just as we do not see any Buddhists in the country except in images, the same fashion Sikhs will be seen only in pictures and museums. He wrote over 25 books about Sikh ideology and history. Baivan Singh Akbar wrote many, such as Mahan Kosh and Hum Hindu Nahi. Bhai Singh founded the Khalsa Tract Society, which contributed to Sikh thought and instilled faith in Khalsa traditions by writing books such as Sumri. He explained Gurbani in his weekly paper, the Khalsa Samachar. All of the above, and Zwarasi, became very popular because of devotion to Sikhism. During this time, Guru Granth Sahib was also translated into English, making it even more accessible. This fight against illiteracy was the cornerstone of the movement. As Penny Steele Comager said, education is essential to change, for education creates both new wants and the ability to satisfy them. Sikhi goes a step further. Guruji says, "Gyan ka badla mane, wherein gyan na paye." Bhai Gurmukh Singh, a professor who emphasized the importance of learning Punjabi, revived Singh Sabha Lahore and even gained the moral and financial support of the government. Singh Sabha Lahore, Singh Sabha Amritsar, Khalsa Diwan, and the Khalsa College made great progress. However, some of these institutions later proved to be regressing in their views and practices. The clash between Lahore and Amritsar is one that the world has seen before. It is essentially orthodox versus popular, elite versus the masses, Tat Khalsa versus Sanatan. Tat Khalsa, led by Gurmukh Singh, was a major component of the Singh Sabha Lahore. It called for radical change in its view of the world as textual, impersonal, progressive, and modern. Sikhs with Sanatan beliefs were mainly situated in Amritsar and were led by Khem Singh Bedi. Sanatan worldview was oral, personal, diverse, and traditional. It supported continuation of human gurus and believed Sikhism was an offshoot of Hinduism. The two Singh Sabhas were unable to realize necessary cooperation for a Panthak revolution, and the schism gave birth to Khalsa Diwan, with president as Khem Singh and chief secretary as Gurmukh Singh. The Diwan opened Khalsa schools and circulated papers and periodicals to propagate Singh Sabha ideology, as well as its religious activities. However, the same contentions that caused strife among the Singh Sabhas infiltrated Khalsa Divan, rendering it ineffective. The excommunication of Gurmukh Singh Ji is evidence to how the movement was hindered because of issues that were sometimes in direct conflict with the principles of Sikhi. After the slave elitism by Kam Singh and other descendants of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Gurmukh Singh became outspoken against them, leading to a series of false charges. This shows the corruption that plagued such institutions, and the priorities of its members were concerned about more materialistic things. An editorial in the Khalsa Advocate described thus: false gurus grew up in great abundance, whose only business was to pamper their own self-aggrandizement. There was no Sikhism. Belief in the gurus was gone. The idea of brotherhood in the Panth was discarded. The title of Bhai fell into disuse and contempt. Sikhs groveled in superstition and idolatry. This is hauntingly accurate about the situation today as well. We still use the caste system, and different factions have emerged who are unwilling to cooperate for the betterment of the community as a whole. The leadership now is as corrupt, as inept, and as depraved as it was then, a situation we especially see today concerning current political and religious matters, such as regarding Professor Darshan Singh. Reforms are ineffective, and the people don't want to face the issues as a unified, single-minded, and efficient community. Some of us want Khalistan, but how can we be united as a nation when we're not even united as a religion? The problem is materialism. Maya Mampan Moni, Bin Tanda Jagkaya, and Maya Tari at Anna. We want money, power, influence, and success, and Sikhism is no longer a priority. We have too much pride to admit to a problem and then fix it, especially if our political and economic status suffers. We have schools, camps, and these symposiums, but we need leaders that are not afraid to be criticized and ostracized, and are willing to compromise not their values, but their individual desires for the good of the Panth. We need to present ourselves in public through community service, press releases, our careers, and school. We don't need one leader, we need everyone to be leaders that embody the principles of Sikhi, yet are not corrupted by societal pressures. The community as a whole needs a solid vision, strategy, and execution to reach its goals. As John Quelch of the Harvard Business School says, when the environment becomes volatile, waters are uncharted, and your mission requires greater flexibility than you ever imagined. That is when leadership becomes most critical. This could apply to all of our gurus, and it applies to us now. I quote a chant, Sandas Partha concluding stanza in Asa Ki Baat. Har juk juk bhagat paya, Paj rakta aya Ramraja, Har nakish dosh karmaya, Behalav taraya, Ankarya ninka pette, Namdev Mukhraya, Jananak Asa Har Sevya, Antalej Kadaya. And finally, as Dwight D. Eisenhower said, you do not lead by hitting people over the head. That's assault, not leadership. Vai Vijika Khalsa, Vai Vijiki Fateh.
Thank you, Samrat Singh Ji, for the speeches. Now the last participant for 5th group and for the symposium for the Mid-Atlantic region is Jaspreet Kaur.
Dutch ke Bulav, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. The Singh Sabha movement was created as a response to the influences that other religions and sects were having on the Sikhs of Punjab. These sects had the common goal of engulfing the Sikh religion and assimilating the members into other religions and sects, so that there was nothing left. The Singh Sabha movement was created to re-establish the path of Guru Nanak Dev Ji and to lead the Sikh population in the right direction. The death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh Ji set off a chain of events that would ultimately lead to a fight for the Sikhs that would span for years. It would be a fight that would be covered with betrayals, lies, and accusations. It would be a fight for religious freedom, a fight for survival, a fight to escape the quicksand that was quickly engulfing the Sikh religion. Sat Sangaji, it would be a fight for our very identities. The Singh Sabha movement was started around 1872 in Amritsar as a way to jumpstart the fight for the survival of the Sikh religion. Many circumstances were such that the population of Sikhs was falling drastically. In Amritsar alone, the population fell from 2,032,224 in 1868